days after he crossed a big political milestone, completing 50 years as the head of the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, the 94-year-old patriarch of the DMK, Muthuvel Karunanidhi, passed away in Chennai. Early in his career, Karunanidhi became a celebrated writer of Tamil films, with social reform as the underpinning of his storytelling. His prolific writing earned him the sobriquet Kalaignar, meaning artist. Karunanidhi's foray into politics came early. A young Karunanidhi was deeply influenced by Dravidian icons Periyar and C.N. Annadurai. His son Stalin is expected to take over the reins of the DMK, but Karunanidhi's death, less than 2 years after the passing of ADMK chief Jayalalitha, leaves a big vacuum in the state's politics. The two leaders had dominated the political landscape in Tamil Nadu for decades. It's Wednesday, August 8th. Shouldn't marital rape be a crime? A question under consideration of the Delhi High Court as it hears a petition seeking the striking down of the exception in the rape law that petitioners argue discriminates against married women sexually assaulted by their husbands. What does the law say? The offence of rape is defined in Section 375 of the Indian Penal Code as sex with a woman against her will and without her consent, and provides for an exception, as per which even non-consensual sexual intercourse by a man with his own wife, the wife not being under 18 years of age, will not amount to rape. In the last hearing, the court asked the NGO Men Welfare Trust, which is opposed to the plea to criminalize marital rape, whether their stand was that a husband has a right to perpetrate sexual offence on his wife, and could he force sex on his spouse? To which the trust replied, there were adequate existing legal protections like the Domestic Violence Act, through which women facing sexual violence from husbands can seek redress. When the trust submitted that the use of force or threat are important elements to constitute the offence, the court disagreed, saying, a rape is a rape. Is it that if you're married it's okay, but if you're not, then it's a rape? Why it should be an exception under 375 of the Indian Penal Code? Force is not a precondition for rape. That rape by husband has to be accompanied with force is a myth. It can be through blackmail or by putting a woman under financial pressure. Also, in the name of children and other needs of the house, the woman is asked to submit herself. Now let's look at what the Supreme Court said recently. Interestingly, the Apex Court, while hearing the challenge to the law that criminalizes adultery, last week observed the following. Does a woman or a man lose their degree of sexual autonomy after marriage? According to me, no. The right to say no to sex should be there after marriage also. In October last year, ruling on another petition, the Supreme Court had read down the exception in the rape law. Earlier, the exception effectively meant that non-consensual sex with a wife does not amount to rape, the wife not being under 15 years of age. The petition in the Supreme Court had asked that if the law thinks a girl below 18 is incapable of giving consent, how can it assume a girl in the same age group, when married, is capable of doing so? The court ruled that sex with an underage wife, which is to say below 18 years of age, amounts to rape. Which then begs the question, does the Supreme Court judgment imply the consent of a married minor as a prerequisite for sex with the husband? If so, can an adult married woman be denied the same? In April this year, the Gujarat High Court, in a judgment in another case, had underscored the need to make marital rape a criminal offence. The court said, the total statutory abolition of marital rape is the first necessary step in teaching societies that dehumanized treatment of women will not be tolerated, and that marital rape is not a husband's privilege, but rather a violent act and an injustice that must be criminalized. In a year that has seen the unearthing of multiple bank frauds, CEOs of private banks, it appears, may not be getting their year-end bonuses. Bloomberg and Business Standard are reporting that the Reserve Bank of India, which, per procedure, is to approve the proposal for bonuses of top management, once the bank's board gives its approval, hasn't done so. Bloomberg refers to exchange filings that show ICICI's board had approved a bonus of 22 million rupees for CEO Chanda Kochar. HDFC Bank's Aditya Puri was to get 29 million rupees. Axis Bank's Shikha Sharma was set to receive 13.5 million rupees. Both private and state-run banks have had a tough year. RBI data up to March 31, 2017 shows state-run banks have reported 8,670 cases of fraudulent loans totaling up to 61,269 crore rupees in 5 financial years. In fact, collusion of officials from at least 3 state-run banks have been investigated for loan fraud. What is happening? Girls are getting raped left, right and centre. National Crime Records Bureau 2016 data says 38,947 women got raped. Madhya Pradesh is leading in the number of rapes, followed by Uttar Pradesh. Yesterday there was the Deoria case. What are we doing? The Supreme Court had some strong words for the Nitish Kumar government over the alleged rape of minor girls in a Muzaffarpur shelter home. The court questioned why the homes were not inspected. Who was giving money to the shelter homes in the state? The court asked. It seems these activities are state-sponsored. The Tata Institute of Social Sciences, which had exposed the shelter home rapes in its report, informed the court that 15 shelter homes in all are under scrutiny. Last month, horrifying details of sexual abuse, torture and exploitation had emerged from the Muzaffarpur shelter home, where more than 24 girls were allegedly raped, drugged and beaten by the management and men who came as visitors. Union Minister for Women and Child Development Menka Gandhi acknowledged that there could be many more shelter homes like the ones in Deoria and Muzaffarpur, where young girls and women are subjected to abuse and harassment.
ये जो मुजफ्फरपुर और देवरिया में जो हुआ है, इससे हम लोग चकित भी हैं और दुखी भी। और मुझे मालूम है कि बहुत सारे ऐसे जगह निकलेंगे। हम लोगों ने एक ऑडिट किया था और जगह जगह हमने एनजीओ भेजे पिछले 2 साल देखने के लिए कि क्या हो रहा है इन शेल्टर्स में। किसी ने ये नहीं कहा कि कुछ हो रहा है। इसका मतलब है कि बहुत ही ऊपर से उन्होंने देखा।
On Sunday, 2 Palghar fishermen netted a 30 kg Ghol Fish, which fetched them 5.5 lakh rupees in an auction that lasted just 20 minutes. What's going on? Some jhol in this ghol? Ghol, or the black-spotted croaker, is one of the most expensive fish found along the South Asian and Australian coast, reportedly selling at a minimum of 800 rupees per kg in India to be exported to Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong and Japan. Known as the fish with the heart of gold, it's both a delicacy and prized for its medicinal properties. Its skin is a source of high-quality collagen used to make functional foods, cosmetic products and medicines. Its fins are used by pharma companies to manufacture soluble stitches and in wine purification. That's it then. See you tomorrow.